now the tariffs are pretty comparable, 19%. And that was a formal letter that was sent to Indonesia, which is only 1% less than Vietnam. But yeah, I mean, right now, I think the big thing is just diversity and just exploring options and getting as many contacts as you can.
Welcome to the My Wife Quit Her Job podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to have Jim Kennemer back on the show. Jim is the founder of Cosmos Sourcing and SourcingHub.io, and he's helped hundreds of clients source more than $100 million worth of products from Vietnam, Mexico, and Southeast Asia. And products that he has sourced have ended up in almost every major retailer for clients from over 30 countries. He also recently spoke at my annual e-commerce conference, the Seller Summit. I invited him on the show today to talk about the current sourcing situation and the latest with tariffs, because I still feel like things change like every single month. We actually just got a shipment in
Like
ourselves.
every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah. And with that, welcome to the show, Jim. How you
Hey,
doing?
great. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I actually have an odd question for you to start. And I know this is really
For
random, but I
sure.
think I was talking to another speaker at Seller Summit,
hmm
and I overheard that you get most of the traffic to Cosmos sourcing through AI, like chatbots. So
Not most, but yeah, we're getting a huge surge in traffic on AI chatbots. Come up apparently pretty high, recommended by ChatGPT.
do you have a strategy for doing that? Just curious.
I mean, I'm looking into it. It kind of honestly happened organically. Like we have our blog and kind of have a couple blogs now, but Cosmos Sourcing is the main one. And guess it's just good information. But yeah, it's definitely, we're seeing pretty good conversion rate with our, like we're only getting about 1,000 visitors a month referral from ChatGPT, but
uh,
from those, the conversion rate to just meetings and eventually sales has been pretty high, much higher than Google, who get
oh
about
yeah.
50,000, over 50,000 from Google, and probably twice as many, but the conversion rate's obviously lower to getting meeting and ultimately sales. So yeah, it's definitely been kind of experience. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out why, to be honest.
Well, no, I mean, is blogging still an essential part of your strategy for
Yeah, it's
outreach?
definitely kind of the main one. I mean, I get blogging and referrals from previous clients, word of mouth. It's probably still number one, but blogging definitely kind of the new clients definitely kind of get out there, and then yeah, referrals from clients and then referrals from other people are definitely. Then yeah, I've been trying to expand more on LinkedIn and start a YouTube channel that I've been procrastinating way too much on.
Well, it is
um,
easy to procrastinate on that, actually.
I know I've actually like recorded like three different versions of the same video, and I'm just every time I look at it, I'm like, I don't want people to see this. It's me reading the script. I don't know. I'm too self conscious about that stuff.
So what I like
Yeah.
about you is, you work with a whole bunch of clients and
hmm
sourcing. So what is
Yeah.
the current situation with the tariffs? What are your clients thinking? How are they adapting?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we work with a lot of clients. Like, kind of our tagline has been anywhere but China, but Vietnam still is kind of our bread and butter. For
Mm.
sourcing, we got a team based there. But yeah, I mean, definitely there's a huge influx of clients who are looking to move outside of China, look at alternative sourcing destinations. But at the same time, right now, people just want certainty, and there's not certainty in tariffs. I mean, we got letters that have been agreed on by one side sent to people about tariffs. So maybe they'll say at 20%, like Vietnam in theory has a deal at 20%, but nothing's been signed or fully agreed on by both parties. That should go in effect August 1st. So
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty soon it's
people
going to
just,
expire, right? Is it the 12th or the 1st? I don't.
so it's 10% still now, but on August 1st, it's going to jump up to 20% theory, based on Trump's comments, which has so far been a single post on Truth Social.
Yeah.
So we got literally people making millions, tens of millions of dollars in purchase agreements based on a single Truth Social post that is pretty uncertain. So yeah, we're kind of still waiting for the official announcement, but no one's on the other side's objected to it. So it's just been
So
what
there
it is.
still seems to be, at least among your clients, a
hmm
need to go away from China, even though
Absolutely.
I think feel things feel like they've settled somewhat with China, right? At 55.
Yeah, I think that's going to be locked in for the short to medium term, 55%. And I think, yeah, literally yesterday or the day before, Trump made comments about the tariffs going to be set anywhere from 15 to 50%, which he did at AI Summit, just off the cuff, by the way. So, yeah, we're going to kind of see some more settling, but yeah, it's definitely been a lot of uncertainty. And people have been really, like, we work with a lot of clients who are looking at factories or getting quotes from factories, contacts, doing introductions and all that, but they're just don't want to pull the trigger until they know everything's set in stone. Because if they place a purchase order today, it's going to take 2, 3 months before the product's ready to ship and goes through customs, and then they don't know that the 10% or 20% that's in place now is going to be what they pay in the future. So there's all
So
that
what is it right
uncertainty.
now with Vietnam, actually? It's 10% right now, and you've
I mean,
seen
today,
shipments go.
today,
Yeah,
on August 1st, it'll be 20%.
it'll be 20. And
Yeah.
then how long is that gonna last? It's indefinite right now, or
It's indefinite. Yeah. I mean,
okay,
20 for the short, medium term. But yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, as far as, yeah, it will be definitely kind of locked in at 20%. But
okay,
just with the way the trade agreements are, there's nothing locked in
sure.
enough.
I mean, given that a lot of
Mhm.
the Chinese factories moved their operations to Vietnam in the past
Yeah.
decade, I mean, is it really doing anything?
A little
Uh,
bit. Yeah,
okay,
one of the big things too that the the Truth Social post has a 40% tariff for goods that go from China into Vietnam, which we're trying to figure out what exactly it is, because technically transshipment as a whole is illegal. So now we're just doing a 40% tariff.
right.
So yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of uncertainty, but a lot of that people kind of allude that if a substantial amount of raw materials, even if the finished goods is made in Vietnam, would get taxed at 40%. So yeah, there's potential that say you source the metal components from China, get shipped to Vietnam, made into a finished good, then the metal component would be taxed at 40%, and then the rest of the product would be taxed at the regular 20%, for instance. But
Is
yeah, a
that
lot
what's
of fact
happening? Is that what you're seeing?
that's
Or
what will happen when it goes into effect. But we're
okay.
still trying to get all that clarity on that because yeah,
'Cause, I always thought the rules were the materials are okay, and then
yeah,
as long as you're transforming it and building something with it, right?
it's yeah, no, that's how it normally works. But yeah, with a transshipment, um, it's honestly kind of unclear what he's alluding to because yeah, I mean transshipment is so transshipment normally is when you have a product go from one country, say China, into Vietnam, and then ship out of Vietnam, declared as
Right.
country of origin, which is illegal in that regard. If we were to say its country of origin is China.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now in that thing explicitly highlighted out that 40% transshipment tariff, which is less than 55% from China.
Yeah.
So has a lot of people confused about what exactly it means. And just talking to experts, like I was talking to a lawyer based in Vietnam about that, and we were just trying to figure it out ourselves. And yeah,
Okay.
as far as we can tell, that's more or less probably alludes to the materials getting taxed separately if they were to originate, or components
Okay.
would be the most logical interpretation. I guess would say most logical interpretation of that.
So, the answers I wanna get out of today's episode is,
Hmm.
why would I go to Vietnam? Like, what are they good at? And
Yeah.
then, is it realistic for, like, a little guy to source from there? Like, what are the MOQs? And I know
Hmm.
we're speaking in broad terms because there's so many different
Yeah,
products, but,
for sure.
like, just set some expectations for the volumes and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, Vietnam as a whole does have higher MOQs, and they do kind of expect first-time buyers to place larger MOQs right off the bat, which has turned off a lot of our clients and or potential clients. So
Okay.
for like clothing, for instance, most apparel projects, you're looking at probably about 1,000 MOQs.
Oh,
Um,
that's not too bad.
yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, so a
Okay.
thousand t-shirts, for instance. Yeah,
Right.
we actually did have a list of manufacturers that did a low MOQs that we maintained in house, but since the trade war, demand's gone up, and almost all of them as manufacturers raised their MOQs, which were like anywhere from 100 to 300 up to really 1,000. So MOQs have been going up a lot more in Vietnam. Yeah, furniture, typically we say a container load worth of furniture, which
Okay.
depending on size can be anywhere from 100 to 300, 400 units.
So why
Yeah.
would I go to Vietnam over China right now? Just strictly manufacturing,
Yeah, I
like the
mean,
types of products. Yeah.
yeah, I think apparel and textiles, cut and sew items in general are better in Vietnam flat out without tariffs being factored in. It's their most
Okay.
developed industry. Um, as a whole. So, I mean, yeah, from our estimation, there's over 6,000 factories that employs over 2 million people in that industry. So it's pretty advanced. It kind of competes at all levels. So everything from high technical gear, jackets, outerwear to cheap t-shirts and everything in between are really good. A lot of bags,
So let's
backpack
say I
clothing
were to
goes
move
well in.
my, like, handkerchiefs and
Yeah.
napkins over there. What give me an idea of, like,
Hmm.
how much cheaper it'd be and what, like, the MOQs would be. Is it,
Yeah.
like, based on rolls of fabric or
Yeah. A lot of it is based on rolls of fabric because, yeah, fabric rolls come from anywhere 1,000, 10,000 square meters.
right.
So, yeah, if they a lot of factories or suppliers do have their own in-house warehouses. So if you get a common fabric, you can just buy from what they have in stock. But most of the time, though, we're ordering new rolls of fabric specifically for the production. So yeah, you would probably have a MOQ of 1,000 or so. And there's been a few cases where we buy the roll of fabric and then do a smaller MOQ, just start out and keep it on hand for the second order.
Okay, and
Yeah.
so I'm just actually I'm asking you now for selfish reasons,
Yeah, go for it.
because we actually
Please
just
do.
got a shipment and the tariffs are at 55, and that
Mhm.
was quadruple what it used to be.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of doing the math, and obviously we're gonna have to raise prices and whatnot. So
Mhm.
it's not gonna be a huge deal. But if I go to Vietnam, like
Yeah.
what price breaks can I expect, just even outside of the tariffs, or are the prices pretty much the same?
Prices are relatively comparable, without tariffs factored in, especially for cut and sew items. So there's quite a few suppliers. I mean, we can definitely check for handkerchiefs because you do embroidery in States or do you do it in
We
China
do the
too?
embroidery here,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
so
So yeah, it would just
yeah.
be the raw handkerchiefs, which is
We just basically
relatively
need a
simple
fabric
project.
cut and like
Yeah.
an edge sewn on maybe at the it's a very simple
Mhm.
project, nothing
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, it depends on where the honestly, what's the simpler things like that, a lot of times the majority of the cost will be in the materials. And is it cotton or what's the
Cotton,
material?
yeah, 100% cotton. We also
Yeah.
sell linen napkins too. Those are a
Mhm.
little bit more involved because they have like a
Yeah.
hem stitch border, and we also
Mhm.
sell aprons,
Yeah.
which are pretty
Yeah.
easy too. It's just like 3 pieces of fabric sewn together.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Because yeah, with that, I mean, the majority of costs would probably be still in the fabric, and a lot of that fabric, it still is sourced from China. But we can definitely talk, and
Yeah,
in
no,
that
I'm
case,
just
you're not going to
curious.
have a majority of the value. Because yeah, Vietnam's starting to crack down a little bit. On July 1st, they kind of announced some major reforms, and they're not giving an export certificate unless they can verify 40% of the value was made in the country.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are they enforcing that?
They're starting to, yeah. Customs, I
Okay.
hate dealing with Vietnamese customs, but now we get
Well,
stuff
walk
held
me
up all
through
the
some
time.
of the advantages. So really, it
Yeah.
sounds like the
Mhm.
primary reason is not cost,
Yeah.
it's just the tariff at this point. Is that
For a lot of goods, yeah. I mean, wooden goods are another one that's probably the biggest advantage in Vietnam without really factoring in tariffs, just because Vietnam's a tropical country. They have a huge amount of plantations, wood plantations, so they can source all their wood locally. And it's part of Asian, so a lot of times we get wood from Cambodia or Thailand as well. And it's free trade between those countries. So yeah, those are one of the big ones. And then Vietnam is trying to move up a lot in the supply chain. So it really depends on the products. Like we're doing some silicone and plastic injection molding, and I will say that does come up more expensive than in China because we do work with a lot of
mm.
clients who are sourcing from China already. But then you got the factors tariff in and the trade uncertainty. So a lot of those people, it'll be worth it a lot of times, even to have it as backup supplier too.
Oh, because of the tariffs, like
Yeah,
the
because of tariffs.
uncertainty of the tariffs. I
Hmm.
see. Okay,
Yeah.
so we got apparel, anything textile related, wooden
Hmm.
products, and then perhaps plastic products.
Yeah. Yeah, we do
What about
plastic and
metal?
silicone molding, a lot of wire goods and metal, stamped metal goods. It's one of the
Okay.
big things we're moving in. And electronic manufacturing is probably their fastest growing industry. Which literally a few years ago we were struggling to find anything at all in the last few years. Literally within like less than 2 years, we've been finding some good prices and starting to do a lot more OEM electronic projects.
So it sounds like maybe 70% of the people that buy stuff or source stuff for like Amazon or whatever could in fact go to Vietnam. Is that
Probably maybe about that, maybe 50%. I don't want to like
50%?
overestimate that, but
I,
it's
I know,
definitely
I'm just
worth
making up some numbers
exploring.
here, but
Yeah.
you got textiles, plastics, and wooden goods and metal, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
like almost everything,
Oh, for sure. And yeah, I
right?
mean, work with tons of, I mean, our majority of clients are Amazon FBA sellers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely, yeah, a lot of good products there. Plush toys too, even you can throw those in there.
And as far as you know, 20% right now is the current situation
Yeah.
starting in August 1st,
Yeah. But
which
there's
is
a lot of people that are thinking that the deal might change. I hate to say it, but
to
yeah,
be
we'll see.
higher,
But
you mean, or
they're hoping lower actually. Because right
lower?
now,
Okay.
Vietnam's 20%. And, Vietnam has been one of the most proactive countries in terms of negotiating deals and getting things going and making concessions too. Then Indonesia got 19, Philippines got 19, Thailand got 36%. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, they're kind of really hoping to if it, have a chance to kind of renegotiate and get under 20%. But at the time, it's going to be 20%, and I'm not. I kind of think they should just settle and get everything locked in.
Hey, just a quick heads up. Tickets for my annual e-commerce conference, the Seller Summit, are now on sale over at sellersummit.com. If you run an e-commerce business selling physical products, this event was built for you. Unlike typical events filled with broad advice and feel-good stories, the Seller Summit is all about real strategies you can actually use. Every speaker I invite is deep in the trenches, running their own store and dealing with the same challenges you face every single day. Now, we keep the event intentionally small, just 200 people, so it stays intimate, and you actually get time to connect, ask questions, and have meaningful conversations. I've sold out every single year for the past 9 years. And if your store is already doing over 250K or $1 million in revenue, we also run a private mastermind with other top sellers in the space. You can learn more and grab your ticket over at sellersummit.com. Now back to the show. So walk me through like what to expect, and obviously it's going to be different from supplier to
Mhm.
supplier. But right now for our Chinese suppliers, it's so easy. We just
Yeah.
draw what we want on a piece of paper, we hand it to them, they send us a sample, and then we're like, okay, good. Then we, just document everything, and we just place a bulk order. Is the
Mhm.
process as smooth?
I mean, for a simple product like a handkerchief, yeah, it
Yeah.
should be that smooth. Like we've worked on
Okay.
some pretty basic line drawings or pencil drawings for some products, but it really depends on the product category. Like we did a set of luggage, soft shell luggage, for instance, and you just had pencil drawings and dimensions, and we were able to get a couple factories to work with that. But a lot of other products, like talking to silicone or shoes or whatnot, you really need like full 3D step files, whatnot with them. Because yeah, with China, a lot of the factories have designers in house and can do shop drawings, and that's not really that common in Vietnam.
Okay.
They kind of rely on the clients to provide the tech packs and product specs and step files and yeah, DWG
I
files
see.
and whatnot to
For
do.
clothing
Yeah,
and everything too, right?
yeah, for
Yeah.
pretty much anything.
Okay. I
Yeah,
see.
and so we work with a
So
lot of third party designers to get that in those cases, but yeah, the factories kind of rely on that. But yeah, like I said, simple products like a handkerchief, you get away with really
actually,
basic
so
drawings.
that's a big difference too, because we
Hmm.
don't ever do tech packs for our aprons. We just
Hmm.
work with the designers that they have in house at the supplier,
Yeah.
right? To
Hmm.
mix and match stuff and make changes. So
For
you're
sure.
saying that the a Vietnamese factory would not have, most of them don't
Some
have that.
will, but not all. And it's not as
Okay,
common as China.
I
Because,
see.
yeah, China, we just work with ideas and then work with the factories a lot more to do the finished good, like basically what you're doing in
Okay.
Vietnam. I mean, with there's cases where like shoes, for instance, we'll get pretty detailed drawings, but work with them to do the patterns, the actual patterns for the machinery. Same with some
Mhm.
clothings. So they'll do the last step, the made for manufacturing step, but they won't do the conceptualizing step as much.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in terms of getting stuff out of there, is it pretty straightforward? Like
Yeah, it's pretty
shipping,
straightforward.
exporting?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same as China, really. I mean, we work with freight forwarders and they do all that. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, it's more or less the same. Yeah, shipping and all that is pretty commoditized and standardized internationally. So it's same standards. Yeah.
All right, so that's Vietnam. It seems like it's
Hmm.
pretty viable over China.
Yeah.
Um, I actually was looking into Mexico at some point too, and
Hmm.
I actually found that the prices were just way higher. And
Yeah.
I know you do a lot of sourcing from Mexico. What's your experience there?
Yeah, no, it's definitely the higher price. Like, yeah, I spent 2 months in Mexico this winter, and we looked at a lot of Mexican manufacturing. We're just benchmarking projects from China, Vietnam, and Mexico. And Mexico was consistently 1.5 to 2 times more expensive, much more
Okay.
limited on what they can do as well. So yeah, it was, and that's without tariffs factored in. And yeah, with tariffs now, it's
Actually, what are the tariffs right now with Mexico? I don't even know.
30% at the moment.
Oh my
So
God, ouch. Okay.
yeah,
So does that, put it out of contention for a
yeah,
lot
I
of your
haven't
clients?
really taken on too many Mexico projects recently, unfortunately.
It just seems so
Yeah,
convenient though, because they're
I
so
know,
close
and everybody
and yeah.
wants Mexico to work. It's just, yeah, I mean, the supply isn't there. The demand's there. The supply chain isn't. Yeah, I mean, the people that move production to Mexico are going to be the large companies who are setting up their own production facilities in Mexico because it's easy to do that. But there's just not the contract manufacturers that folks like you and me can reach out to and just start a project. They're just not set up for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So in your experience right now, Mexico doesn't seem that attractive, both from a cost perspective as
yeah,
well as a tariff perspective.
yeah. But from a logistics perspective, it's great.
Oh yeah, yeah. From a logistics
Yeah.
perspective, it's incredible.
Mhm.
Is Section 321 no longer a thing? Like if you get a warehouse right on the border and they just slip into the U.S. postal system, in theory, there's no tariff, right?
Yeah,
Still,
theory. Yeah, the
yeah.
de minimis. Yeah, that
I mean,
aspect.
that's not even de minimis anymore if they're literally
That's true.
slipping it into the U.S. postal system, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's yeah. It's still a little bit of a thing, but it's yeah harder to do. I don't do
Yeah.
too much with that, to be honest. So I'm not the
Okay.
best expert.
Okay. So you also cover Southeast Asia.
Hmm.
What are some of the main countries that you have experience with there?
Yeah, I think and Indonesia are the second and third best countries to source from. Malaysia has a few pockets of stuff. Like we do some metal goods from Malaysia as well, but Thailand has some pretty decent advanced manufacturing. We're starting to do some appliances there. Like a tankless hot water heater, for instance, is one of our projects, and we found a supplier for that.
Okay, that sounds really complex. So what is Thailand go like, why would you go
Yeah.
to Thailand versus Vietnam?
I th It really depends on the product category, but I think, like I kind of mentioned, the appliances, and they do have a little bit more advanced manufacturing facilities for that. Then they have more developed in the plastic injection and some injection molding. But right now, with 36% tariffs, it is a little bit more of a challenge.
But is it better than China? Probably not, right? I mean, if I was gonna do an
Yeah,
appliance,
it's
I'd
hit and
still probably
miss.
go to China, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. Well, it depends on your price point, but yeah. Yeah, it really depends on the product because we still do most of our electronics out of China. It's just too easy to do.
Yeah, so what is the advantage of Thailand then? Like, why did your client decide to go to Thailand for that?
They wanted more diversity in supply chain was the main reason. And they're a
I
pretty substantial client in terms of volumes. I'm not going to say it was, yeah, I mean, they're in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in purchasing a year for products. So in
okay.
that case, they just really, really want to have more options and
Hmm.
wear that out. So they're willing to even not so much lose money, but pay more from Thailand just to have a second option in
Okay,
that
that makes
case.
sense. But for
Yeah.
like a Amazon seller that does like seven figures and whatnot, would
Yeah.
we be even considering Thailand?
It's worth looking into, but it's not the best.
I mean,
Yeah.
36% tariffs,
Yeah.
that's
30
high
pictures
up
for
there.
tariffs plus more expensive.
It's
Um,
more expensive than Vietnam and China.
Yeah, but not much so,
Okay.
but yeah. And it's more limited on
Okay.
what you can do there.
And it sounds like they're good for electronics and plastic
Mhm.
molding.
Yeah. And we do a
Okay.
lot of some metal goods from Malaysia too. And Indonesia's kind of I think Indonesia is probably going to be the next big in our manufacturing base in Southeast Asia in terms of just cheap basic commodities that FBA sellers could potentially buy from.
What would Indonesia like, just give me an idea of what the price points would be for Indonesia.
Yeah, I mean Indonesia has yeah, it really depends on the product. Like we're doing a lot more shoes there. Starting to move some shoe production there and they've been pretty competitive on pricing. And we did some industrial wooden goods. That was actually some, for instance, out of Indonesia, and that's been relatively reasonably good price. By industrial wooden goods, I'm talking like kind of pallets and wooden spools and some wheelbarrow handles and stuff. So some high density wood.
So if we
But
normalize, let's say on
yeah,
apparel,
hmm
right? Is Indonesia going to be cheaper than Vietnam, for
it's
example?
going to be fairly comparable, but
Comparable.
it's
Okay.
not the apparel industry is not as developed, so it's going to be more limited on what they can do.
I see. So they
Yeah,
specialize in what you wooden products you
yeah,
said, and
yeah. I mean, they specialize in a few things, but yeah, yeah.
I mean, what are they? So wooden, what else?
Yeah, I mean, wooden goods, apparel. They do some apparel. They're doing starting to do more electronic manufacturing, but it's still pretty undeveloped in that regard. Doing a lot of shoes, like we did some work boots from Indonesia not too long ago. Steel-toed work boots, and those were pretty reasonably priced.
Shoes. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get an idea of when I would go to a certain country and why,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
Like it seems
Hmm.
like China can do all these things, and it
Yeah,
sounds like Vietnam is an obvious number two because they do pretty much everything,
yeah. I
and the
always keep
tariffs
coming
are
back to
lower.
Vietnam. Like we always look at benchmarking, and it's just always ends
Okay.
up we're
And then
getting back to
Thailand
Vietnam.
seems probably not a good solution right now, especially with higher
Yeah, I mean, if
tariffs
you're
in
American, but yeah, I mean, you still don't have
yeah.
tariffs if you're Australia or European.
So what would be a
Yeah.
reason to go to Indonesia then over Vietnam, for example?
Yeah, I mean, right now the
Shoes
tariffs are
or
pretty comparable, 19%.
okay.
And that was a formal letter that was sent to Indonesia, which is only 1% less than Vietnam. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, right now I think the big thing is just diversity and just exploring options and getting as many contacts as you can, just because really the trade
Hmm,
war just keeps changing.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So really people are just diversifying just
yeah. A
out
lot
of
of people are, yeah,
because Trump might just change their mind one day and then it's not
pretty
like you
much, yeah.
can shift your manufacturing super quickly on the
No, not at
snap
all.
of a
But
thumb
once
though,
you kind
right?
of do the groundwork, you're two steps ahead of everybody else.
I see.
Yeah.
What what are you seeing right now? Like right now prices have been relatively stable. Are you going to see this do you foresee a huge wave of inflation coming this holiday season?
Yeah. I mean, it really depends because I mean, a lot of people are eating profits right now because they know
Yeah.
that if they raise their prices, they're going to lose demand. And So they're trying to keep demand stable, but just eating their profit. But it really depends on how much sellers are willing to eat or lose profit right now. But I mean, you're looking at some benchmarks with like Walmart and products like year on year, and there's a handful of products that are up 50% in terms of pricing. And that, I mean, that's more or less mostly due to the tariffs. But I mean, the real thing is, I mean, tariffs, it takes like 3 to 6 months from the tariffs to be implemented to actually
Yeah.
hitting the consumer, just because, that's how long it takes for the products to go from production, import into the supply chain.
I mean, we had
Or,
enough
and
stuff to
yeah.
last us till the beginning of next year.
Hmm.
And in preparation for all this stuff, we actually stopped supplying our Amazon and just only supplying from our own store
Yeah.
because that's our main cash cow. But we
Hmm.
did just place a new shipment, and there's no way that I can't
Yeah.
avoid raising prices.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
many people like, yeah, I mean, $2 million in tariffs. Like, yeah, the client I was talking to, I'm not going to disclose who, but yeah, I mean, they paid 2 million in tariffs, and he says he's literally making zero profit at the moment over the last 3 months. Probably even lost money. He might didn't admit to losing money, but yeah,
what's
he's
the
definitely
rationale for that, though? I don't.
his. He's in a price sensitive target with competitors, and he is afraid that if he raises his prices, then they're going to go to the competitors and going to lose market share. So he's right now just wants to maintain his market share.
I
And
see.
then
Interesting.
he's
Okay.
assuming his competitors are also getting hit with tariffs, but I guess he's hoping they blink first, and then they raise prices, they come to him, and he gains market share. But yeah, it's just brinkmanship, really.
All right, so kind of established, at least I have from this conversation,
Hmm.
that it seems like Vietnam is the way to go, if not just for
Yeah.
diversification,
Hmm.
and right now tariff relief,
Yeah.
right? So how does one go about finding a Vietnamese supplier? Now, I know on Alibaba it actually has a whole bunch of Vietnamese
Yeah.
suppliers on there.
Yeah, but the big thing is
Um,
like not every supplier is on there. Only a small fraction, less than 20%, um, are on Alibaba. I mean, there's still a resource like Yellow Pages. You can actually Google suppliers pretty well in Vietnam since Google's not blocked in Vietnam. But yeah, I mean, there's resources like if you have a chance to go visit Vietnam, go to trade shows. I think that's the single best thing clients can do. And we have a lot of clients that visit trade shows, and then we set up factory visits for them after.
what are the main trade shows that are over there that happen
Yeah, you got VIFA, you got Global Sources has a big trade show. That's the best general
in
trade show.
Vietnam?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
I
they
thought
have
they were
an
just in Hong Kong.
no, they got a new
Okay.
one in Vietnam. They started 2 years ago. I was at the inaugural one actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, so they kind of had 600 vendors at the first trade show, and they're up. I think they're up to 800 to 1,000 now. And
What
yeah,
was the
this is a
first
general
one?
trade show. So most trade shows tend to focus on product categories like FIFA is like home goods, or yeah, home goods and furniture, and then there's ones that are specialized in clothing, another one for shoes. So if you have a specific niche that you're in, definitely kind of figure out the one that's your niche and go there.
You mentioned the yellow pages. Were you joking or what?
No, the Yellow Pages are for some reason very active in Vietnam and a pretty good
Really? Like
database.
yellow pages doc, like the old school
It's
big
.vn, but
binder
yeah.
yellow? Yeah, .vn.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
we just get
Okay.
contacts from there. You still have to do your legwork. Like once you get the names, look them up. So we'll go on like, yeah, we use them just get names, but we'll go through like 50 to 100 contacts on Yellow Pages, look them up on their website and Google and Import Yeti or whatever on our system. And we'll narrow it down to like 20 or 30 that we think are legit or suitable for clients or even fewer. But
Okay.
just from broad, because yeah, they kind of keep it pretty broad. Like you were just looking for clothing factory, or just list clothing factory, but it's not going to specify. Oh, these make specifically recycled, t-shirts out of recycled materials type stuff. But you got to really
Right.
specify.
What about approaching them? Is it any different than a Chinese vendor?
You have to follow up with them because, like, if you're on Alibaba, you put an RFQ out and they come to you. The big difference with
Right.
Vietnam, you have to be the one who initiates that conversation and kind of follow up with them to really get their contact. They just don't chase after you. So it's kind of the opposite in that regard. And
So it's like
so
India kind of.
yeah, like India, a lot like India. Honestly, it's pretty similar outside of China. It's just China has that hyper competitive factories where they're kind of jumping over each other, get business because they're competing against everybody. Well, yeah, Vietnam, you got to go after them. But I mean, it's relatively easy. I mean, yeah, we've had clients that have poor response rates, but we work with a lot of clients to get better RFQs or kind of really on punch up because a lot of time people are like, oh, I just want to buy 50 right off that. And we like, you can do a sample order of a few orders and then, but you really got to lead in with you want to buy 1,000 eventually once everything works out. So we got
Right.
to lead in with that, and we coach them, and we get much better response rates. And then we obviously write our RFQs when we work with clients too.
Right.
But yeah, you do
Yep.
have to really kind of chase them, follow up with them, and make sure your RFQ is appealing. But we have a good relationship and pre-vetted factories with hundreds of factories too already. So
So I know in China we get them on WeChat as soon as we can, and then all
mhm.
communication is done through messaging.
Yeah,
Nothing is blocked over there, right? So what is the platform of choice for
yeah.
communication?
WhatsApp or Zalo are the two big ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's no gotchas or any real differences. Is English easy
Yeah,
to
I mean, we
communicate with?
communicate.
Or,
I
okay.
mean, our team is all local Vietnamese, so they'll talk to factories in Vietnamese. But once we do introductions to clients, they'll be in English. But yeah, half the time they'll have English speakers on any factory with back support.
Okay.
Ambition will have an English speaker on their sales staff, handles the face-to-face stuff, and then honestly, Google, everybody uses translation apps. So you're talking on
Yeah, yeah,
WhatsApp
yeah.
or
Okay.
Zalo, and you honestly might be speaking to a Vietnamese native speaker who barely speaks English, but they're translating everything and works fine.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. So in that regards,
Yeah.
it's pretty straightforward. Is
Mhm.
placing orders and everything pretty much the same?
Yeah, it's effectively
Wire
the same. Yeah,
transfers.
mostly
Okay.
wire transfer. For smaller orders, we'll use other services, but yeah, once you're at a certain level, definitely kind of do wire transfer and make sure
Okay.
everything's legit. But yeah.
Okay. So it
Mhm.
sounds like it's a pretty good viable alternative that
Yeah, for a lot of people,
at
not
least
for
for me we
everybody.
should be looking into.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, okay, let's go that route. So
Yeah.
what is it? Who is it not for?
Yeah. I I mean, like I said, kind of you got to really be specific on the products that they do focus on. Like we kind of talked about the apparel, textiles, clothing, bags,
Yeah.
backpacks, all that. Furniture is all good, but there's a lot of times with complex projects or very specific products, or actually private labels, probably the hardest one to source. So anybody that just wants to have a pre-made product, slap their logo on, it's very hard to do because none of the factories really maintain existing products or develop products. They just rely on the clients to
Mm,
make it for them. And I mean, just stuff like, I don't know, insulated water bottles, for instance. People are really just like, oh, I want this, like have very specific things that they want and don't want to, put the time and develop it. They just expect a factory to just buy, have an option of all these for them to buy and then put a label on.
yeah,
Just that's not an option.
that doesn't happen. Well, that's actually a good thing
Yeah.
in my eyes, because then they're
Hmm.
not going to list their own stuff on
Oh,
Amazon
for
and compete
sure.
against you, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah. Knock on wood, we haven't really had as much, yeah, no real issues with, yeah, factories kind of circumventing that because, yeah, they're really manufacturing focused. They're not sophisticated on the sales aspect and setting up, you know, counterfeit sales
what
channels.
about what about IP theft?
It's in theory easier to enforce in China, or Vietnam than China, but obviously you still have to have a lawyer and everything. But yeah, we have internet agreements set up that we can set up with factories that really protect it. So it's not been as big an issue, and there's more channels to legally enforce it. They're not going to automatically favor the factory. So I mean, we talk to lawyers. We haven't had to really follow up with anything, but yeah, there's law offices, Western law offices that have representation in Vietnam that can follow through if needed for any type of those
So the
issues.
likelihood of a factory copying your stuff and then going forward and selling it on Amazon is much more rare than
Correct. Yeah.
in China.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it sounds very attractive right now, at least right this second as we're
Yeah.
recording.
I know. Everything changes so quickly. Yes.
Do you do a lot with India or?
No, I've looked at India a lot, and it's just it's a huge country, and each province and area is different, and it's like the whole mindset of how to do business with them is total shift.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, but in Vietnam, are there different regions that specialize in different?
Oh,
I
for
guess
sure.
Vietnam's a lot smaller.
Yeah. I mean, there's really three main regions of Vietnam, and really in the end, you can reduce it just North and South Vietnam. Central Vietnam would be the third region. Um,
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I mean, northern Vietnam, around Hanoi, the capital, just near China. So you do get a lot of, I want to say transshipment, but a lot more cooperation with China. This is where we do a lot of electronic manufacturing, a lot of lighting, and some stuff like that. Just because you do still get components. Like anytime we do lighting, like all the LED components, for instance, come from China. There's, as far as I know, none outside of China. Um,
Right.
but we'll still do the finishing and the casing and whatnot from Vietnam. And then, yeah, southern
Okay.
Vietnam, there's, well, yeah, about 55% of the production capacity of the country is around Ho Chi Minh City. And
Wow.
That's where we do a lot of our furniture, a lot of our clothing, a lot of textiles. We actually put our office in Binh Duong province, which is actually just merged with Ho Chi Minh City on July 1st. So now technically it's Ho
Hmm.
Chi Minh City. Um, but yeah, we specifically put it out there just because it's super close to the largest single industrial area in the country. So yeah, we're like right near all the
Yeah.
factories.
Okay. And then in terms of trends, do you see? I always felt like Vietnam was just getting more and more saturated, and companies are moving to Pakistan, Bangladesh. Do you work with any of those countries?
No,
No.
it's hard to find reliable manufacturers there. And a
Okay.
lot of what they're moving, I'm gonna say, is it cheap, but is like I would say cheaper and large volume products are moving to those countries just because they can get more scale, more workers. And yeah,
Right.
Vietnam's trying to add more
To be
sophistication
the
to their
next
supply
China,
chain.
essentially,
Yeah,
right?
they want to be the next China, and a lot of the newer factories are pretty modern, pretty advanced. With like we're like a cut and sew factory, but they actually have cameras at each station. For instance, check QC, not just each supply chain, but literally each pattern, so they can actually check QC live and have more computer
Hmm.
controlled automation kind of built in. So we're seeing a lot more factories in that regard. Like a lot of the plastic injection molding and silicone injection moldings that's moving to Vietnam. Those machines just
Hmm.
need one guy to operate. So it's I mean, they're made in Korea or Germany or wherever, and they're yeah, really automated nowadays to make a product.
So I want to ask you this: do you see manufacturing coming back to the United States based on what you're seeing?
It depends on what level. The thing
Okay.
that I think America should focus on is the high level stuff. Like we make airplanes here, we make cars here, we make high value goods here, and I really feel like that should be the focus is expanding that. Maybe add shipbuilding or a few other things, but just stuff like t-shirts and tennis shoes. There's no reason we need to make that here.
It's not going to come back, right?
Yeah, that's not going to come back,
Yeah.
and I just don't understand why you would even want it because it's not good, great job, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean microchips and stuff. Like obviously we're building. Yeah, I would definitely focus on some key industries, but I wouldn't say just bring back all manufacturing here at every level because yeah, at the end of the day, like I know there are a few t-shirt manufacturers and we benchmark prices, but you're looking at a t-shirt from a factory for like $30 in the United States versus literally $1 or $2 from Vietnam.
Wait, that much? And the I
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Well, that's nuts.
yeah. I know.
Yeah. And as far as you can tell,
Mhm.
they're more advanced, right, in their factories, like the equipment and
They're
everything.
getting more
Yeah.
advanced, and like a lot of old factories are building new wings and new factories, but all the new factories are quite advanced nowadays. And there's a lot more investment into factories because it's getting a little bit harder to hire
Okay.
people, and the factory owners know that, so they're going to definitely kind of add more automation as much as they can.
Okay.
Yeah,
But let's talk about Cosmo real
yeah, for
quick.
sure.
Let's say someone listening wants to source from Vietnam. What is the process? So they reach
Yeah,
out to Cosmo, and then what happens? You guys hop on a
yeah.
call,
We hop on a
and
call. We kind of talk about their product, their MOQs, their product,
Mhm.
and whatnot. Just make sure you know they're a good fit for Vietnam or elsewhere. And then yeah, if they're a good fit, we definitely kind of pitch them. But yeah, the way our services work is fully transparent. So we get direct contacts with the factories. We do direct introductions. We try to get as many quotes as we can. So we get about 2 to 6 quotes per product category. And we charge a flat rate instead of commission, but this allows us to get multiple quotes because most commission agents only work for like 2 or 3 factories and they're going directly to those factories specifically. So we have our services
Mm.
set up so we work for the client on the behalf of the client. And then, yeah, they're free to make a decision
Okay.
on which factory they want to work with based on which one's the best fit. Maybe they want price, maybe they want quality, maybe.
And then general rule of thumb for
Mhm.
textiles, 1,000 units of.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
general rule
that's
of thumb.
that's
We
vague,
work
but
with some
yeah.
higher end stuff, like we're some suits and kind of high end dress manufacturers, and we can obviously get those lower, but those are definitely higher value goods. We did pretty high end, ultra light hiking backpack, but and that was like
Okay.
100 units, but it was also pretty
Oh,
hiking
one
backpack.
thing I forgot to
Yeah.
ask. Turnaround times, are they just similar to China?
They're a little bit slower, but relatively similar.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends on the product. Like
Okay.
we typically, for like clothing textile, I would estimate 30 to 45 days once you just order to actually have the product finished. Some more complex items like furniture, you're probably looking close to 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then does Cosmo offer QC services too?
We do basic factory visits and stuff in house, but we work with a lot of third party inspection services, but we can definitely coordinate that whole
Okay.
process for them and put them in touch with it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, Jim. Where can people find you?
Yeah, cosmosourcing.com is probably the best place. We're on all the socials. That's Cosmos Sourcing. Or if you want my email, just jim@cosmosourcing.com. And you can directly
Cool.
email me. Respond personally.
Is I went on your website as soon as the whole tariff craziness
Yeah,
happened, and it used to include China, but now it says sourcing from anywhere but
we
China.
technically still source from China every now and then, but
Yeah,
yeah, we definitely been pivoting away from China. I mean, the thing with China is relatively easy to source from China versus other
yeah,
countries. Like you just go on Alibaba and I mean, obviously we do our own search and have our own resources and go beyond just Alibaba, much more beyond, but at the same time, like 50 to 75% of our results are or were the same as Alibaba. So it's
yeah,
hard to really tell a client, hey, and sometimes the best bet. So it's yeah, we kind of realize there's much more difficulty in finding factories outside of China. So like for us,
sure.
we're going to build a team out there. Like we mentioned, there's not like a central Alibaba type resources. So we have our team reach out, pre-vet factories, build a
Yeah,
relationship with
it totally
factories, and
makes sense.
yeah, and
Yeah,
kind of do all that work for you and try to make everything as seamless and easy as possible.
cool, Jim. Thanks for coming on,
Hey, no
man.
problem. It's a pleasure.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.